Deontay Wilder said that his costume was too heavy and it wore his legs down, and that was the reason he lost. What were your thoughts on that?
Listen, don't make an excuse. Take the defeat. Listen, in boxing, you're going to have a winner, you're going to have a loser. If someone's going to get hurt, someone's not going to get hurt. That's real facts of boxing. The real facts of boxing is once the fight is over and you say, well, I'm not making no excuse, but that's an excuse. You know damn well if you put all that shit on and walk into the ring, that's dumb. Straight up, that's dumb. Who would wear all that heavy for Black History Month? What did that represent? That's just an excuse. I respect Deontay. I like Deontay. But the fact of the matter, listen, you spent all that money on that costume and you blamed it on your legs? Nah, my man. You gotta learn how to box. You gotta learn how to fight. You gotta keep people at a distance. You got the reach, you got the long arms, you got devastating power. You have to keep people on the end of your punches. Just throw it. If you throw it, it's gonna hit, or it's a blinding. You can blind somebody and throw another punch. But not throwing any punches, and depending on one punch, the right hand, you'll never survive in boxing because you're exposed now. He's exposed. He can't take a punch now. He'll hit you and break your jaw, but he can't take a punch.
He also made some comments, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, where he said he doesn't see Tyson Fury as the real champion. Where do you think he's coming from? Why is he saying that?
Well, he's bitter right now because he lost. He lost to a guy who knows how to play the press, who knows how to play the fans. He has charisma. The guy beat you, over and done. There's another chance for you to avenge yourself. That's it. No matter if you're going to talk about it, if you want to talk good about it, if you want to talk shit about it, the fact of the matter, it's going to happen again. So it's why speak about it. Don't waste your time on the past.
Do you expect Tyson to come through again in the third fight, Michael?
Those are the words of Michael Moore. Michael Moore, of course, is the former champion, heavyweight champion of the world. And he made some good points about Deontay Wilder. And this isn't coming from a person that doesn't like Deontay. As you heard him say, he likes Deontay. He says he has the explosive power, devastating power. He will break your jaw if he hits you, but if you're worried about one punch, that's not going to work. And now he's exposed. So he made a lot of sense with what he's saying. And this is, again, this is another former American heavyweight champ. Okay, this isn't someone that's from the UK or another country. That a lot of people defend Deontay by attacking the person that had the opinion, if that makes sense. Like, oh, well, especially like Wilder fans. Oh, well, he's saying that for me. Yeah, that's Frank Bruno, or that's Lennox Lewis, or that's someone else. Oh, that he ain't even from here. Then they start attacking that person's background just because that person didn't say anything to uplift Deontay or said something that may come off derogatory. That ain't coming off like a yes man or an ass kissing type comment, But Michael Moore keeps it real. He has no reason to hold his tongue or to say anything otherwise, And he did say some helpful things towards Deontay Wilder. Hey, why talk about it? He feels he's bitter because of what he's saying and how he's saying it, and it does. That is a great word when I did read the labeling of the video, that's exactly what it is. Deontay Wilder is bitter, you know. Of course, you know, Josh or somebody would call him a bitch or a Dulce for Tyson Fury, but bitter is probably the word that describes Deontay Wilder right now. A guy that never lost, first loss, and he's failing the test. My counterpunch to Deontay Wilder, he's failing right now. Why is he failing? Because he's not showing true sportsmanship. He's not showing a strong will. See, regardless of what that video represented, because that's really the last time you heard from him from his Instagram, that didn't sound like someone that was confident. You know, it might sound, some of the things might have sounded good, but then everything else you said wasn't consistent with that video. Your king is here, this, that, and the other. Then you disappear for 2 months. You know, oh, I was in surgery, but oh, I don't even feel like he's a champion. I mean, well, who the hell did he beat? That wasn't me. Who the hell was it? It was somebody. It was you. You know what I mean? And when people hear that, he's losing a lot of respect for people that did have respect for him. You know, and it just shows you again, you know, I feel that a lot of times that these people that work for him, or he works for, or whatever, that supposed to work for him, they're not really aiding him in the right direction. You know, because the things that he's saying is not really making sense. So I do wonder, what does Deontay Wilder's management think of the things that he says? Because, I mean, they have to have an opinion. Shelly Finkel has to have an opinion about what Deontay Wilder said about the costume. If you notice, no one said anything. Not JD's, not Shelly Finkel, not Mark Breland, right? No one said anything. You know, maybe they're not saying anything because they know, you know, the silence means a lot. You know, when you're silent about something, that speaks louder than anything just for your silence. So that may be it, right? But you have to wonder, since these guys have other opinions about other fighters. Let me give you an example. Shelly Finkel had this to say about Anthony Joshua as soon as Joshua lost. Joshua lost, and then Joshua made a comment to the public, and he said he questioned if he was good enough. Who was the first person to respond to that? Shelly Finkel, right? So then you wonder, and he said, well, if he felt that way, I would have never advised him to say anything like that, right? Well, what about your fighter right now? See, the hypocritical comments are now starting to come to the forefront. He had that to say about Anthony Joshua and everything, and everybody was nice and skinning and grinning and happy. You know what I mean? Because the pressure, I feel, was off of Deontay, and Deontay was still undefeated. So he didn't lose anything. He still has his WBC belt. He didn't have to fight Joshua for it. Joshua lost him to Andy Ruiz, right? So everybody was coming and attacking Anthony Joshua for every tooth and nail, but one thing he was not saying was, it might have came off weak or whatever, you know, but at least he was honest. This doesn't sound like honesty to Deontay Wilder. He sounds like a person that's making up excuses, a bunch of BS, right? Like Michael Moore said, like, don't, why are you talking about it? You have an opportunity to redeem yourself, to set the record straight, to avenge your loss, your only loss, right? A lot of people would argue too, but officially your only loss. He has one loss and one draw. He has a record now like Gennady Golovkin now, right? So he has an opportunity. And in fact, Michael Moore said that, hey, he will help train him, right? And, you know, and he did wonders for Manny Pacquiao. But another thing Michael Moore did say is that Deontay Wilder is exposed now. People are going to come for that man because they're going to know he has one punch. And it's one of those things, like I've always told you guys, he only had that one punch, you know, because I'm not a yes man. I analyze fighters. You know, I look at their weaknesses, their strengths, you know. But yeah, it's one of those things. Now they're going to come for Deontay Wilder. So if he loses, again, his stock will drop. But the question is, if he continues the sport of boxing, you know, who will he fight? Because he won't have any belt to fight for or anything to defend. You know, so they don't really, I don't know how that would play out. But I just think it was very interesting to hear Michael Moore say that about Deontay Wilder. You know, he's just bitter. And that, you know, you can come to that when you believed your own hype. You thought that everything and everybody around you was telling you the truth and you believed it. And that wasn't the case. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Michael Moore's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.